January continues on with the wintry weather, as well as those eShop gaming deals. Here's the latest bunch to look out for. One of the Switch's very best roguelites, as well as Metroidvania-style games, is Dead Cells. This game is loved by players for its gameplay and its challenge. In this game, players take control of a creature named the Prisoner, and they must fight their way in order to defeat a king. Along the way, players will gain weapons, treasure, and other goodies through procedurally generated levels. But of course, just like most roguelikes, once you die, it is game over. Luckily though, you can gain currency from slaying enemies, which can be used to purchase permanent upgrades to hopefully make your next trek more successful. The combat is terrific, and it's just a well-crafted experience from top to bottom. In addition to the core game, the expansions really add a lot of fantastic content that will keep you coming back for more. They not only build off of what made the game so good, but they add a boatload of new experiences. That is why I recommend picking up the Dead Cells Medley of Pain bundle if you aim to get this on the Switch. It has the main game, plus all the expansions, including that fantastic Return to Castlevania expansion that has you taking on the famed Dracula's Castle, as well as enemies and bosses from Konami's legendary series. You basically get the whole experience here, and you can get it all for $23.99 via the latest sale. Another really good Metroidvania is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It's a full-on AAA quality Metroidvania, on par with Metroid Dread in terms of quality. This game has a huge emphasis on combat and movability. The prince himself is extremely agile, and he is fun to control. There's tons of puzzles to solve and secrets to find as you explore within the game. The Switch version itself looks great. From what I can tell, they took great care in bringing this one to the system. This is a really good game. Encourage you to try out the demo if you haven't yet. It'll give you an excellent taste on what to expect. Now you can pretty much find the game for around $20 physically, but for $5 more, you can get it digitally with all the DLC, including the Mask of Darkness Story DLC expansion. That's something to consider if you want to pick this one up for the Switch. Dragon Ball XENOVERSE 2 is an action role-playing / fighting game that is still receiving DLC and updates to this very day. For example, the latest DLC expansion just came out this past November. It's pretty insane the amount of support it's received over the past 7+ years. Create your own fighter and train them and raise them up as you go fighting through past, present, and future through different and often original story scenarios and events based on Dragon Ball history. There's a lot of content to experience, and that's before we even get to the DLC stuffs. That said, if you want to experience the game with a ton of DLC scenarios and content at its full force, then the Deluxe Edition is the way to go, as it comes with a lot of that stuff for the cheapest way possible. It of course contains the base game, along with these Super Packs 1 through 4, both Hero Justice Packs, and the Legend Patrol Pack. That's a lot of content there, to be honest. It's on sale for $24.99. Child of Light is a bit of an old game, but it's still a good one. The game has you controlling a child who must save the sun, the moon, and the stars from the Queen of the Night in order to return home. Now this is a platforming RPG. Parts of the game have you in the side-scroller, traversing platforms and exploring and all that, but battles consist in turn-based combat, kind of like the old-school Final Fantasy games. The closest game I can compare this to is the game Indivisible, although certain mechanics are a bit different than that one. This game, Child of Light, is still a pretty looking game after all these years, and the gameplay is still as fun as ever. The Switch Edition, which is the Ultimate Edition, comes with all the content and DLC that ever was released for the game, and it's on sale for $4.99. $5 is a good deal for those who have yet to experience this one's charm. The 99 cents Capcom Arcade Stadium and Second Stadium sale is back around again. It means you can pick up one of the many available games for each app for just 99 cents each. There's the Street Fighter games, Darkstalkers games, Final Fight, Mega Man arcade games, various shoot-em-ups, and those hidden gems like 3 Wonders. And there's just lots more. There's a lot of awesome stuff for arcade fans here. This deal is good for those who want to pick up some arcade games they actually want, but for those who want to build their own arcade collection on the cheap. As a reminder, each app automatically comes with a free arcade game to own too, so at least give the apps a download, even if you don't plan on picking up anything at the moment. NAMCO Museum Archives Volume 2 is another set of NES and Famicom classics from Namco's past. The set includes games like Galaga, Battle City, Dragon Buster 2, Dig Dug 2, Legacy of the Wizard, aka Dragon Slayer 4, Mappy Land, Mental Palace, which is a game that was developed by Game Freak, of all people, Pac-Land, Rolling Thunder, and Super Xevious. In addition, this game has an 8-bit conversion of the arcade fixed shooter game Gal Plus, which is only available via this collection. Overall, this is a solid set of games, a good companion piece to the first volume. It's on sale for $4.99 until January 27th. While we're at it, let's talk about some super cheap $1.99 games. Fury Unleashed is a crazy run and gun game that has you jumping into the pages of a comic book where you get to blast your way through enemies and foes alike. It is a roguelite. The levels within have randomly generated elements to keep players on their toes, and as players play, they can unlock permanent upgrades. It's a fun, straightforward game in solo play, but it's even better in co-op. And the co-op play in this one is supported through online play, which is something that most games of this genre seem to sadly lack these days. For $2, I think it's worth it. It's a no-brainer for those who want a good action game for pretty cheap on the Switch. Tools Up is a game where you have to team up with other players to do home renovations, though it often leads to chaotic and comedic results. Work together, or choose not to complete tasks in this fun little party game. If you like games like Overcooked or Moving Out, those kind of chaotic multiplayer games, then you'll like this one. This one's only $1.99 on the eShop, another no-brainer for those looking for a good couch co-op game for pretty cheap. While the first Nickelodeon Kart Races game was pretty much a dud, the second game actually ended up being a pretty big improvement. Look, it's no Mario Kart, but it's a pretty fun game for what it is. There's over 30 races to race as well as over 70 different crew members to team up with. There's 28 tracks to race on, and there's a local multiplayer and online multiplayer support too. Also, the frame rate in this one is pretty good too. It's often reaching around 60 FPS. For just $3.99, basically $4, it's a good pickup for the family, or for those who love the Nickelodeon stuffs, or for those who are just looking for another kart racer to play with on the Switch. The third game is on sale too for $5.99, that being the Turbo Edition, and while that is pretty cheap, $5.99 basically, and there is more of everything, more racers, tracks, and unlockables, as well as it includes some voice acting too, which is something the other games lack. The big problem I have with it is the frame rate. It takes a massive dive on Switch compared to the second game, so be aware of that. BPM, Bullets Per Minute, is a rhythm-based FPS game. Yes, you heard that correctly, a rhythm-based first-person shooter. All your actions and the actions of the enemies are tied to the beat of the music. It's a bit weird at first, but you'll get used to it, and it certainly adds for a unique experience. In this game, players choose from one of 10 different characters, each with their own unique style, as they shoot their way through randomly generated dungeons to the beat of the soundtrack. Along the way, players can find and equip over 60 different items to buff up their characters to keep up with their hordes of enemies. Unique mechanics aside, this is still a boomer shooter at heart though. There's plenty of guns and stuffs to go boom, and it is a pretty fun shooter overall. It's on sale for a brand new low price of $7.49 on the eShop. The last set of games I have for you today are the remaining few from the last week's sale, and they're here in case you missed them the first time around. There's a number of arcade games on sale for the new year, and of course I got a few picks. First up is a game that you might have ignored. I can't say I blame you, because you might have confused it with its predecessors. See, Dragon Saber is the third game in Namco's Dragon Shoot-'em-up series, Dragon Spirit and the NES exclusive Dragon Spirit The New Legend being the first two games. Those two games are probably the ones that most people have played. Now, as cool as the first two games are, you get to play as a dragon, which you can upgrade and all that, they do come with their share of issues. Mainly, they are fairly difficult games. For most, just when you feel like you've gotten your dragon somewhere in power, it'll likely be taken away. Dragon Saber aims to kind of fix that, with an improved difficulty curve, allowing for new players to the genre to kind of hop in and enjoy the ride, at least for the first couple stages. And there's even an option for sustaining multiple hits, up to 4, before losing a life. On top of the gameplay adjustments, this game features some nice graphics, as well as some nice boss battles, and some great music too. It's a good arcade game, and the Arcade Archives release is the first time it's ever been officially released in North America. It's on sale for 30% off until January 18th. If you're looking for a few more arcade classics to pick up, then on the Neo Geo side of their Arcade Archive sale, there's Area Fighters 3, otherwise known as Sonic Wings 3. It's a good vertical shoot 'em up, one of the few made for the Neo Geo arcade platform. And then there's Metal Slug 5, which I mean the Metal Slug games are awesome, and they are great run-and-gun games, and they're filled with lots of action and explosions. You should play them all. This one is the last one that was released for the Neo Geo arcade platform. Both are good arcade pickups for just $3.99 each. Melty Blood, type Lumina, is the 5th entry in the Melty Blood fighting game series. The gameplay is pretty mechanical driven. You got numerous ways to cancel attacks, chain combos, as well as to nullify damage and launch a counterattack. The game has been pretty well received by those who have played it. This seems like a game that's perfect for fighting game veterans. The version on Switch includes plenty of unlockables to earn and customization options, but it also includes rollback online netcode, a feature always welcomed by players. It's back on sale for the new year for $19.99. The Fuga, Melodies of Steel games are tactical RPGs that were developed as well as published by CyberConnect 2, a Japanese company that's been around for a long time now, almost 30 years, and they've worked on a number of franchises, including Dragon Ball, Naruto, and the Dot Hack series. These games, the Fuga games, are entries in the company's Little Bronx series, a series of games that contains the games Tail Concerto and Solo Torobo, Red the Hunter. I'm sure someone watching is saying right now, oh my god, those games. Yes, I'm talking about those hidden gems. These Fuga games are prequels to those games. Both games feature players taking control of a gigantic tank that houses survivors that are found throughout the game. They need to take out enemies in strategic combat as well as take care of the residents within. Now within the tank is a secret weapon called the Soul Cannon, which is capable of immense power at a cost of a crew member's life. At certain points, you gotta choose if you need to use it, and of course, if you do, you gotta choose what crew member must go. Yes, these are emotional RPGs that feature multiple endings depending on players' choices and how many characters survive by the end of it all. They're very good games, and I highly recommend them. You can get the double pack for the first time ever at 50% off until January 15th. Well, that's it for today's eShop deals. I'm feeling quite a bit better from last week, from my illness and all. I'm ready to get back into the thick of things, so expect a lot more videos coming your way. But for now, thank you for watching, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll catch you soon on the next video.